Hello there, everyone. We're back. It's Canadian Bowler Podcast. I'm Mike Patuli, joined here today by Daryl Fitzgerald. How's it going today, Daryl?
It's going good, Mike. Glad to be streaming today. Uh, lots of results, lots of stuff flooding in. It's a really good time to be streaming with all the stuff that's going on in Bulls.
Yeah, no, it's quite a jam-packed amount of results that we've got to feed to everyone. It's actually pretty nice to see all the different information flooding in and having to go through the different websites, seeing who's winning what events and going to be going to nationals next month there.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to Canadians, like the first one in quite a while, and all the stuff that surrounds that. And I mean, as we start getting into the summer with Commonwealth games and um, more results coming through and more Canadian stuff, I think it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, well, I guess before we get too deep into it, I'll just start a reminder here. If you are here, click that like, comment, subscribe button, whatever you're able to do. Any sort of interaction helps us. So if you're able to, please hit those buttons. If you're not able to get us live, we are on YouTube within the day of the show going on, so you can catch us after the fact. You can also catch us on all major podcasting platforms. Usually within the week, we'll be on there. So if you want to check out the show after the fact, definitely check us out on there. So we might as well jump right into it, I guess, Daryl. We got loads and loads of provincial results to give everybody.
Absolutely. You want me to kick it off with Ontario?
Might as well.
I mean, come on, we are the center of the Bulls universe in Canada. So
Yes,
I mean,
center of the earth.
We have the Ontario pairs results, which happened last weekend. On the men's side, we have Derek Mackay and Murray Benwise. I think they had a good placement in the fours. They split up their team into the pairs, and Derek won the gold there. Silver was Bill McCollum and Pierre Vanderhout, and the bronze went to Robert Wu and Arnie Markowitz. And on the women's side, the gold went to Elizabeth Cormack and Crystal Shepard. They're a very strong women's team out of Ontario. They've won a lot of Canadian stuff in their time. Silver goes to Michelle Whitehead and Aaron Dory. They've previously won silver. I think they got silver here, and I think they're hoping to get gold in the Canadians if they can do it. They're making their return. And bronze went to Lila Hassan and Kim McNulty.
Well, congrats to everybody there. That's always nice to see some familiar names, people we've seen before, and maybe some people that we've never seen before. So exciting to see all those teams at nationals this year. If we want to jump to a different province, I guess working our way west, we'll go to Manitoba. So there are results for Manitoba. So on the website there, it looks like they've actually run the full gambit at this point now. So for the women's fours, the winners were Jillian McMurtry, Barb Heinrichs, Donna Gobet, and Brenda Frank. So congrats to them. I've seen, looking at the picture from the website, I think I've seen a couple of them at nationals, but I think we've got a pretty new team, or a team that's maybe filled with a couple of rookies going to nationals. So congrats to those teams, or that team, sorry. We also had the men's pairs for Manitoba, which was won by Rod Rose and Tim Lane, both of them out of Brandon. So congratulations to them. I know it's not outrageously common that the Brandon teams end up being successful against the Winnipeg teams, because it's a smaller club, and then Winnipeg's got so many clubs there. But congratulations to those guys. So that'll be great to see again a newer, or a team we don't see as commonly at nationals this year. And then last weekend, it looks like they ran the women's pairs, and that was won by Elaine Jones and Betty Van Wellingham. So two people that have been to nationals many, many times and won many, many medals. So congratulations to those two. And then the men's fours was won by Brian Coleman, Ian Thompson, Rick Dockert, and Jerry Chudrick. So congratulations to those four. Again, I think that's a pretty new team. I think I've only come across Brian at nationals once or twice before, so probably a few guys getting their first sort of kick at the can. So congrats to everybody from Manitoba there.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always, before we move forward, it's always special going to your first Canadians. I mean, some people have been there quite a few times, present company not excluded from that. But for those that are making their first trip, hopefully you really really enjoy it and just take it all in. It's a cool experience for sure. I can go into the Alberta Fours. The women, gold, Jan and Bev Robinson, Peggy Blathen, and Patricia Walker. Silver went to Pauline Wong, Cheryl Storrow, Leona Halton, and Lorna Hatton. Sorry, I'm going to be butchering names. This is brutal. And then bronze went to Joanna Cooper, Jen McDonald, Amanda Berg, and Claire Day. On the men's side, gold went to Pat Bird, John McDonald, Francis Standen, and Michael Riley. Silver went to Roy Riggy, Peter Mock, Kevin Dusablin, and Keith Johnson. And the bronze went to Dwayne Hawk, Bob Seltzer, Stephen Mellick, and Brent Warren. Some new names on there that I haven't seen before, and obviously some longtime stalwarts of the Canadians, like Pat's team there. So a mix of, again, the new and the old going out to Canadians.
Yeah, I'm excited to see familiar names, and specifically I pay a lot of attention, obviously, to the fours teams that keep coming up, because that obviously will make a difference in my life in the future there.
That's right.
So it's actually nice to see pretty much our fields shaped up at this point, I guess, for fours. We probably have a couple last spots to fill in there, because I think BC is starting or going into their provincials right away here. So we'll probably have some results for BC whenever we get to our next show. But most of the fields sort of been filled in at this point, and kind of just be a waiting game to see who those last couple teams are.
Right. Was there anything out of Saskatchewan this time?
Yeah. So I guess the last time we had sort of covered it was the fours. So Saskatchewan has went through the pairs and the singles at this point. So for the pairs, the gold medalists were Alex Scott and Lo Wong from Saskatoon. So Al Scott making his appearance back at nationals for about the first time in about 5 years, I guess. So congrats to them. Then the winners for the women were Janice Robson and Karen Schlatter from Regina. So they've both been nationals a few times each. So congrats to them as well. For the men's and women's singles, for the women's singles, the winner was Jordan Koss. So she ended up beating Heather Hanoski in the final, and then Janet Watson ended up taking third place. So I believe all three of them are going to be playing in singles nationals. Saskatchewan, I think, gets the 3 entries. And so then for the men's, the winner was Brandon Watson, and he ended up beating Daryl Hanoski in the final. And third place was Bo Koss. So Jordan's dad, Bo, ended up winning third there. I think what I'd understood is the third entry would go to Carter Watson, who was our first person who didn't make it out of the pools, essentially first place who didn't make it out of the pools, because Bo isn't going to end up going to nationals. So those would be the 3 teams on both sides for our singles.
Nice.
And I guess this weekend they're running the indoor qualifier, which is currently going, but I don't have final results there, so we'll leave that for next time.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff still coming on. I know in Ontario next weekend we'll be playing the singles, and we're playing them in 2 separate locations, both I think 2 green facilities. So there's a ton of entries into that. I don't know how they're going to run it. It's going to be quite interesting. I think it's going to be over 3 days, so we'll have a lot of action coming from there for sure. And a lot of other provinces are running their play down still, so tune in to the next show and we'll have more and more results coming out. One other item, and John Siteman can audit me on this one as well. Nova Scotia did play their pairs, and we have to remember that Nova Scotia plays for the next year. So this isn't for the current Canadians, but I think for the next one. So the women's side on the pairs in Nova Scotia, gold was won by Lena Cameron and Debbie Purdy. Silver was Anne-Marie Seitman and Vicky Balcom. And bronze was Joyce Anderson and Mayumi Endo, I believe it is. And on the men's side, the gold, two guys that have never been anywhere, Steve Ogden and Steve Bazanson. Silver was Braden Campbell and Graham Usher, and the bronze, I think, was split two ways. It seemed like it was a dual bronze, so John Seitman and Raymond McDonald and Mark Robar and Mark Stinger, I think it was, split the bronze two ways. So I don't know how that works out, but that will be for the next one. So we'll probably be reporting on those teams again the following year. So congratulations to all the teams. That's it's awesome to win your province and to move on to the Canadians. So the next stop is the big Canadians in Burlington.
Yeah, congrats to everyone there that we've mentioned. It's going to be exciting. I'm just pumped for the summer. It's great to sort of have things to look forward to at this point.
Absolutely. One more thing. Mike was saying it based on the websites. Guys, the provincial websites are not great. We'll just say that. That's putting it nicely. If you have results and you know the results and for your province, please just send them to us. CanadianLawnBowler@gmail.com. Comment on one of our videos, whatever it is. We'll take those results. It helps us. We try to find them, but some websites are really, really hard to navigate and get in there, and some haven't been updated since I think like last year. So we just we want to be able to report on the champions. Congratulate them for winning the province and moving on to the Canadians. So for your province, if you have results, try to send them to us. That would be great.
Alrighty, so I think we have a few other things we need to cover on the show here. We had some Commonwealth Games information you wanted to pass along. Is that correct?
That's right. If you haven't seen it, Bulls New Zealand released their Commonwealth Games team. So I can go over who's going to be playing in that. So for the women's singles, it's going to be Caitlin Inch. Women's pairs is Caitlin Inch and Selena Goddard. Women's triples will be Val Smith, Tyler Bruce, and Nicole Toomey. And women's fours will be Val Smith, Tyler Bruce, Selena Goddard, and Nicole Toomey. Going to be a step up for a few of them into certain positions. The singles has, as far as I can remember, always been Joe Edwards, and she's since retired. So Caitlin Inch is getting the call to go into there. So that's huge opportunity for her. Obviously, she's been playing in Australia quite a bit. Really been making a name for herself. So I'm not surprised that she got that nod. On the men's side, men's singles, Shannon McElroy, I think he's had that as long as he's been on the team. Really good singles player. Men's pairs will be Shannon McElroy and Tony Grantham. Men's triples, Ellie Forsyth, Mike Galloway, and Andrew Kelly. And men's fours, Ellie Forsyth, Mike Galloway, Andrew Kelly, and Tony Grantham. Allie and Shannon have been on the team for quite some time. Mike Galloway is making a return. He hasn't played on the team for a little while, but interesting to see him back in the mix. He longtime New Zealand player. And some changes on I think we did the para a little while ago, but there's been a slight change in the lineup. We have an interview coming up today on the show with Sue Curran, who's a visually impaired bowler out in New Zealand. She's going to be getting a new partner because I guess her partner, Dean Robertson, wasn't able to get the designation that he needed to compete. So he is out. Sue is moving up to skip now in the visually impaired mixed pairs, and Gerald Brewers will be filling in his position. So kind of neat there. I think we were waiting for this announcement to come out because there's also some not so great news coming out of New Zealand. Gary Lawson has been suspended, and I think what did I say? It was 16 weeks or something like that. Homophobic comments. Not great news. I think they were waiting because he was obviously a possibility for the Commonwealth Games team, but that took him essentially out of the Commonwealth Games team. So not great news coming out of New Zealand on that side, but that kind of sums up Commonwealth Games news that I have for you today.
Yeah, no, strong team regardless of whoever was eligible for the selection there. So they definitely still have a chance to, I think, potentially bring some medals home from that event there. So it'll be interesting to see how sort of that shapes up. And then, as you kind of alluded to, we do have Sue coming on here, so we're going to talk about her partner that isn't going to end up playing with her in the event because we pre-recorded the interview from a few weeks ago. So sort of keep that in mind. But it's interesting that sort of the designations and getting certifications to play in the event is kind of something that does get sort of tossed around again with that type of bowling. So unfortunately it happened, but good that she got a new partner. I'm happy to see that someone was able to jump in and sort of take the spot.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think that's all we had for Commonwealth Games type of info. Let's move on to my thing that I wanted to share. Is that where we're gonna go now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so there's fairly big news in Saskatchewan over the last week here. So in Waskesiu, Northern Saskatchewan, Prince Albert National Park, they recently redeveloped or opened a new lawn bowling club or green. So in the picture there, you can see they pretty much took that from being a cow patch where elk would sleep on it routinely every night to fencing it off, redid it last year, and they've completely redone the green. So it has boards, everything now. These are pictures before they did the second cut. So it looked a lot better when they had the grand opening there the other day, but that was on the 30th. So 30th of June, that's me and Al Scott playing some singles there. So we just had some fun playing on a new green. So they have a four rink green. It's a little shorter than full regulation, but it's really conveniently located in the middle of downtown Waskesiu, which is pretty much the center of one of Canada's national parks. It's one of the things. Well, there's my daughter. She enjoyed her time on the green too. But the green's really conveniently located, and they do that with a lot of national parks in Canada. That's how a lot of people have kind of been exposed to the game of bowling. So pretty big news for us in Saskatchewan because that green had literally gone to, as I said, a cow patch, and now it's back to pretty much being a fully working green. They have it positioned in a really nice sporting facility surrounded by about 6 or 7 other sports, and then there's a central location where they can rent bowls. And so then Bowls Saskatchewan made a donation for them to buy a bunch of brand new bowls. So they have a bunch of nice sets of colored bowls that you could sort of see around Alex and mine's feet when we were playing. So I think it's going to be a really positive step for Saskatchewan. And I think it's something that other national parks in Canada potentially would be open to or looking at in the future. Like I think it's Riding Mountain National Park in Manitoba. They have a lawn bowling green there as well, which could possibly be redeveloped. And I think there's some other ones in Ontario that have them sort of located in like the lake towns that are part of the national parks. So it was really cool to see. Figured I'd share some of the pictures I had because it was a really fun event. I enjoyed going up there and kind of getting people to play the game because we had about an hour and a half of people just coming out and trying and sort of getting exposed to the sport. And we had really positive reviews and the people are very excited about it. So it was fun.
That's exciting. Obviously, in Canada, we don't hear a lot about that. I know we've had a couple greens or a couple clubs and greens open here in Ontario, but it's few and far between. You know, you hear more about closures than opening. You hear more about greens going bad than getting better. So, really, really good story there, and hopefully that helps you drive some more interest and get some more players just trying the game. That's really cool.
Yeah, like our hope is they eventually establish a club up there, which can help us with sort of the funding side from our governing body, Sask Sport, because they would cover our north region, which we currently don't have a club in the north. If that ever happened, that'd be awesome, obviously. And then I think if they had tournaments or kind of developed to the point where they have a tournament up there every year type of thing, I think I would probably make an appearance every year just because our national parks are gorgeous in Canada. And if you ever have the opportunity to go to them, I highly recommend it and go camping, sort of experience what we have because we have a beautiful country here. So definitely check it out. And if you ever do have the time and you're a lawn bowler, check out to see if they have a lawn bowling green because probably a good possibility in national park there might be one. And it's kind of fun to go see what it is because can vary from a cow patch, as I sort of said, or be all the way up to an established lawn bowling green. So definitely check it out if you have the time.
I can second that. I used to go camping in Algonquin every year, and I've made some pit stops in other national parks as I've traveled around Canada, and everywhere you go is beautiful. So if you do get a chance to go to some of those, and especially if they have some lawn bowling associated with it, it's definitely worth the trip. John Seitman in chat. There apparently used to be one in Cape Breton Highlands National Park in the 40s or 50s. Would be nice to see them bring it back, as we don't have any bowls up in Cape Breton right now. That'd be pretty cool. I've never been to Cape Breton, but I would love to go sometime.
I think I've been to that national park when I was a little boy, so I definitely don't remember it being there. And as a little boy, I probably didn't really want to seek out a lawn bowling green when I was a little kid, but no, that's interesting that it would have probably been there. And John's right. I imagine it was there in the 40s and 50s, and probably just something that disappeared over time. Well then, is that all the information we wanted to sort of pass along, Daryl?
For that, yes. WBT.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some really cool news coming out of the World Bowls Tour over in the UK. If you remember, we had Jason Parkinson on the last show for the interview. If you didn't hear that, definitely go check it out. He has some great information about the World Bowls Tour if you're interested in that, if you watch it. They recently released a video with him and Nikki Brett to talk about some cool stuff that's coming down the pipe, and apparently they've got even more coming down, which is something we've been desperately waiting for on the show, because we think they've got a great product, and hopefully they just keep growing it. For those of you that have been around for a while and have been watching the WBT for a while, they are actually bringing back the Scottish International Open, which stopped being run. I'm not even sure how many years ago, but it was always on the calendar when I started up in the PBA and started playing some of those events. But they're bringing it back, not in the same place. They're going to be holding it at least this year in the West Lothian Indoor Bowls Club. It'll be a slightly different format. It'll be the UK Open format. Definitely, if you're interested in that, go check out what that format is and what that entails. There's a bunch of qualifiers, and it's run a little different than some of the other formats. I believe the actual event is being run on November 1st, with the finals ending up somewhere around November 3rd. Right now, it's unknown what the Canadian qualifiers will look like, or if there will be any this year. I think they're going to be announcing it to all the member branches and figuring that out. So hopefully we hear from PBA Canada and can get some idea on when those qualifiers will actually hit the table. John Seitman auditing the show again. Last time it was held was 2019. They weren't able to get it in the calendar due to the pandemic, so there you go.
Fantastic.
They announced the website. I went to check it out yesterday, and it was still not online. It was the old website saying kind of under construction, so hopefully that goes up soon. But apparently they've revamped their website, which I think the Bulls gods, we were praying to that, more places will update their website and make it more user friendly. So hopefully that comes online really soon. I guess they're merging the PBA, so they have two separate things in the UK. So it's the PBA, which we kind of run over here as our qualifiers, and then they have the WBT, which is the main entity that runs all the showcase events. So they're going to merge those together into one kind of website to make sure it's all kind of one thing. And then they had one final thing, which was on the ladies' side. The ladies' World Match Play qualifiers will be held Glasgow and Huntington. I think that's October 15th and October 29th of this year. And the cool thing about the ladies' World Match Play is the top qualifiers out of both sides also get matched up with one of the top 8 bowlers for the mixed pairs in the WBT. So for any of the ladies qualifying out of that, if you qualified out the top spot, you've got another huge chance in the mixed pairs. So it's a really I don't know if it's like double dipping kind of thing. It's you get not only the ladies side, but you get the mix. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. It's cool. Very nice to see the updates coming or new information coming out of WBT. We love following any of their information they have. So excited to see that whenever that website does go active.
Absolutely. One more thing.
Yep.
To show in here, Australian Open results.
Go ahead.
John Siteman was down there playing. So was his mother, Anne-Marie Siteman. I saw a lot of pictures coming from their Facebook accounts and cool updates. So if you ever want to know what the Australian Open is like, what the travel's like, why you should go down there, definitely talk to John Siteman. He'll give you the rundown. He's been there a number of times, and it's a really, really cool event. Not only for the event, but also the location. The location's super nice. So the Australian Open, I can go to some pictures here while I make the announcements, I think. In the singles, here's the singles winners. On the men's side, it was Aaron Sheriff defeating Corey Wedlock for the title, and on the women's side, it was Kelsey Cottrell defeating Don Heyman for that singles title. In the pairs, for the men, it was Aaron Wilson and Ben Twist taking down the title over Ben Winther and Brett Spur. On the women's side, it was Paris Baker and Olivia Bloomfield defeating Wendy Wilson and Triss Doolin. For the women's fours, it was Kelsey Cottrell again, Sam Ferguson, Lindsay Clark, and Rebecca Van Ash defeating Serena Bonnell, Gail Crompton, Vicky Day, and Marilyn Emerton. And on the men's fours side, it was Wayne Rediger, Nathan Peterson, Gary Kelly, and Carl Healy defeating Thor Shannon. I didn't get the first names on some of these. It wasn't on the title, but Vienenhall, West, and Donaldson were the rest on the second place team there. So really cool event. Congratulations to the winners. Obviously, you saw the checks. They're pretty good, and some really fantastic bowlers. I mean, the who's who of Australian bowls, as far as names go, were winning some of those titles. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, no, kind of the who's who of Australian bowls coming through there and winning quite a few of those events. So not surprising to see some of those names. And as you said, great event that John Siteman's gone to many times. And I think a lot of people in their careers would love to go and potentially try it out, because it is really one of the greatest events I think that there is in the world at this point every year. So if you're ever wanting to check it out, definitely give it a look, because it would be quite the experience to have as a lawn bowler.
Yeah, and it's one of those events that, I mean, everybody, we talk about Commonwealth Games, World Bowls, like world titles and all that. Obviously, you have to make it in through the national team, get selected and go, and it's only a small team. Whereas something like this, the Australian Open, US Open, these big events, you put your own team together, you enter it, and you take your chance. I mean, it's probably a lot harder to get to the top, but if you think about it, you know, just the experience playing against top bowlers, playing in big events is really cool as well. Just seeing tons of people there celebrating the game, and if you do make it really far and if you do happen to win, I can imagine that the excitement is just through the roof. So definitely worth a look if you want to play it. What does John say there? 1,096 players in the men's singles this year. Truly amazing event. 100% the best tourney in the world. Worth every penny. 5th time, and the dream would be to go again many times. He says, I was fortunate to actually have my best result in the men's singles over there, going 2-1. Missed out on winning my section by a margin, and was really proud of myself for that one. Good job, John. You seem to be getting better every time you go, and I can truly say I'm jealous that you get to go 5 times. I want to go once to play in the Australian Open, but you've been 5 times. That's amazing.
Okay, so I think that's all of our information we wanted to pass along. As we did allude earlier, I am correct. We have nothing else we wanted to share.
That's
right
true.
there.
That was a lot of stuff. No, we're good.
Okay. So as we alluded to earlier, we do have an interview with Sue Curran. She's a member of Bowls New Zealand's team going to the Commonwealth Games. She's a visually impaired bowler. So we wanted to get someone from the visually impaired or parabowls to come and give us an interview just so that we can kind of cover all aspects of bowls that there is. So it was really fun interviewing Sue, and I really do hope you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, here's our interview with Sue. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Canadian Bowler here today. I'm Mike Patuli, joined by Daryl Fitzgerald, and we have a special guest with us here today, Sue Curran. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
So what we usually do when we start out the show with an interview is we essentially give you the floor, sort of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you relate to bowls. So the floor is yours, Sue.
Okay, hello everyone. Yes, I'm Sue Curran and I'm from New Zealand, and I'm parabowler, visually impaired at a B3 level, which will mean possibly something to some of you. I've been playing bowls for 10 years and I'm heading off to the Commonwealth Games next month. It'll be my 3rd time at the Commonwealth Games. I am 75 years old, I don't mind admitting that. The oldest bowler in New Zealand, international bowler in New Zealand. And yes, I'm getting quite excited. We're off to Australia next week, Wednesday next week, for a Trans-Tasman, just the lead up to the Commonwealth Games. So that's a little bit of a background. I am a New Zealand born and bred, 5th generation Kiwi, so very proud of that. So thank you.
That's awesome. You are the first parabowler that we've had on, and obviously the first blind/low vision bowler that we've had on the program, obviously, as well. We're really excited. We chatted a little bit before the interview that that section of bowls is just starting to grab hold and hopefully kick off in Canada and become a really big part. So we're really excited to have you on. So for approximately the last 10 years plus, you've been competing at a high level in blind and low vision bowls, and played in championships all over the world. What has it been like for you to compete at the world stage in your bowls career?
It is very exciting. I was very fortunate when I first picked up a bowl, and I didn't know it at the time, that our New Zealand selectors were at the same tournament selecting a team for the Blind World Championships in England the following year, and I wasn't aware of that, and I got picked for the team. So I started off with a bang, if you like, which put me straight into the international scene. I hadn't played much, well, I hadn't played at all prior to that, but I do play a lot of local, a lot of national, and now international things. But it is very exciting. It's a lot of hard work, of course. It's much harder to prepare for something big or international than it is just a local club day. But it's enjoyable. It's very enjoyable.
So you did mention you've been in the Commonwealth Games before, 2 previous Commonwealth Games appearances, 2014 in Glasgow, 2018 in the Gold Coast. This year would be Birmingham, so your third Commonwealth Games appearance. What does the Commonwealth Games mean to you?
It's huge. It's a huge honour to represent your own country. And we were fortunate in Glasgow, or unfortunate, we played off for a bronze medal in Glasgow. First time out, my partner and I were only 2-year bowlers. We played off for the bronze and unfortunately lost it. But it's massive to actually represent your country, to walk around with big names. Unfortunately, I can't see the faces, so I don't know who I'm talking to half the time. But to meet a lot of the big stars worldwide, it is something special.
So for those that don't know anything about parabowls or don't know anything about specifically blind or low vision bowls, can you tell us what specifically is involved in what you do versus possibly what a regular sighted bowler would use or would play in?
Right, well, the blind bowls are split into 4 categories. Para bowls are split into 8. We're part of the para. We take the first 4 categories. The disabled bowlers are rated from what we call B5 through to B8. We're B1 through to B4. And depending on your sight, B1 is a totally blind person. B2, somebody who can see a little bit of shadow, but not actually have sight, might see out half a metre, maybe a metre in front. B3, which is my category, everything is very blurry to me, but I don't have long distance perception at all, and the peripheral vision is very narrow. B4 is quite often tunnel vision, so they can see clearly down the far end, but they won't be able to see anything around them. It's a B4 category. Then they go into the disabled, which I won't explain because I'm not 100% sure how each category's worked out. But that's the para bowling. From B1 through to B3, you are asked to have somebody with you, a director, to help you. They don't only help you on the green, they're your eyes while you're there. Safety reasons, tripping over something in a clubhouse or falling down the edge of the green or something. So you need to have somebody with you with your vision. And they also assist you with your bowls by letting you know distances and where things are. We use the clock system, excuse me. The jack is the centre of the clock, providing you're not using digital. And you've got 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and they just give you the distance of where you are, where other things are. So you bowl to where you think you need to go. Yeah, it doesn't always work, but that's the general idea.
That's very involved. I actually wanted to hear the explanation of it all because my club hosted Canadian Blind Bowl Nationals probably about 15 years ago, and I watched it for a little bit, and I didn't really understand the director part of it and sort of that relationship between the bowler and the director. So I guess is a director like a coach, or is that a separate thing?
Up until this year, my director, who I have had for 5 or 6 years, is a New Zealand coach. I was very lucky to have Anne Muir. Anne has been an international player herself. She is a coach, but she became my director as well. So she had a lot more broad knowledge of the game. My current director, Anne has had to pull out because of personal reasons. My current director is a local lady that we've been friends for a long, long time, Bronwyn, and she's learning to become a director, but doing very well at I will add. She isn't a coach, but we also have coaches separate. So we cover the whole thing. We have our own personal directors if possible, but do get coaching from the Bowls New Zealand or the wider community of actual qualified coaches as well. So, and it's necessary. You do need that.
So when you're preparing for the Commonwealth Games, do you follow like a similar kind of training plan? And you said that you work with the national team for New Zealand as well. Do you follow basically their type of plan for preparing for bowls, or do you have something that's very unique to you?
We play exactly as the same as a sighted bowler would play. We have, except that we do have somebody with us giving us the direction. We play to exactly the same rules. We have exactly the same bowls. We do exactly the same routines that they do. We practice the same way. Everything is the same, except we have our helper with us, if you like, our eyes with us.
So you'll be playing mixed pairs with Dean Robertson. Have you played much with Dean, and how do you feel going into the Commonwealth Games to play with him there?
I'm looking forward to it. I've never played with Dean. Dean is down in the South Island. I've never actually played against him. Yes, I have. I do apologise. I have once, and he beat me. That was the New Zealand Nationals that we had at the beginning of the year. Again, mixed pairs. He and his partner did beat me and my partner. But Dean is a fairly new bowler to the blind bowls. But he's very enthusiastic, very keen, and spending a lot of time practicing. I think we will go well together. He's the English greens are a lot slower than ours. We have some of the fastest greens in the world, I gather.
Right.
But Dean has got the build and the height, and I think he will complement each other very well, actually. Well, hopefully we will. The end result will be in August, so we'll let you know.
Personally, I've been able to work with some low vision blind bowlers at my club, and I've always been amazed at how they play the game, how they perceive the game and make their adjustments, and just based on the instruction, like you said, able to adjust accordingly and make those shots. Are you able to describe at all how you approach the game and how you play it?
Yes, the first thing, you've got to have a lot of trust in your director. You've got to actually trust what they're telling you as being accurate. If they're a couple of feet or half a metre out or something, it's not too critical. But you need to put full trust in your director, and they must trust what you are going to attempt. They've got to appreciate the fact that we can't actually see where we're going.
Right.
And preparation is, I get on the mat to actually bowl. My director will have told me or asked me to go forehand, backhand, and given me a rough idea of the distance that I've got to go to and what I'm trying to get round or through or past or something like that. But you've got to trust the person that you're with, because if their direction is out, your bowl will be no good whatsoever. Fortunately, in mixed pairs, we have a skip and the other player down the other end. So the skip at the other end will call you up as to where you need to go, which takes a bit of pressure off the director that I would have at the time. But it's all trust, and a lot of it, and just practice. You've just got to practice to the different lengths. A lot of our bowling greens in New Zealand are 33, 35 metres. England, I believe, is 40 metres. So we actually have to play on a much heavier green up to 40 metres. And it's a lot of hard work, especially when you get older.
So you just touched on a question I was wanting to ask here. So going over to England, the green speed probably going to be fairly significantly different, and as you're saying, the slightly longer in certain scenarios too. So has there been anything you've done to sort of train or prepare yourself for going over there, or sort of just something you're going to have to jump into when you get there?
Well, we were asked right at the beginning, once the team was announced, we were asked right at the beginning to stop playing on the fast greens, so stop playing at club level, and go on to croquet greens. Croquet greens are renowned for being a lot heavier. They're not a bowling green, so you can't expect the same result on a croquet green, but it does give you the strength to try and put your bowl up to a bigger distance, a longer distance. The English greens, we understand, can be between anything 8-9 seconds up to about 12 seconds in speed. We play 16, 17, 18 seconds over here, so we are much faster. So we've just been using the croquet greens. The club that I belong to in Hamilton are preparing one of their smaller greens. It's not smaller in distance. It's not 40 metres. It's about 33, 34 metres. They are actually preparing that for me for when I come back from Australia to practice on until I go to the Commonwealth Games. They're going to try and get it down to 8 or 9 seconds. It's not easy finding somewhere to bowl, to practice on those sort of greens. A lot of the clubs are carpet, and of course they can't slow carpet down. Yes, it's just a matter of scouting around and trying to find somewhere that's suitable. It isn't easy.
We've heard a lot of that from especially Southern Hemisphere bowlers, where they're really just trying to find something or make something, like have a green brought down to the speed that they're expecting just to train, which is really interesting to be able to do that, because I wonder how easy it would be to slow a green down, just like over here. Trying to speed something up to the level that we would expect in Australia is near impossible. So,
yes, well, I do believe that where we're going in Australia next week, they have worked on one green for us for the whole Trans-Tasman, and they've slowed a green down right down, supposedly to 10 seconds or something. But the Australia and New Zealand, or certainly New Zealand greens, most of them are a flat weed, whereas Northern Hemisphere greens, I believe, are grass.
Yep.
And that's where the difference comes in. Ours is sort of just a flat weed, which speeds things up. And I know the English greens are grass. And of course, they are spongier and heavier leaf and that sort of thing. I think that's where the difference comes in. I'm not a greenkeeper, but I do understand that that's where that heaviness comes in. And of course, if it rains, it gets heavier still. So,
you're absolutely right. And not only that, Mike and I have both played in Australia a little bit, and back home, and the flatness, the true draw, Southern Hemisphere to Northern Hemisphere is completely different. So it's quite an experience to either go north or south for anybody.
Yes.
But
yes.
I applaud you for all the efforts that you're making to try to get there.
Thank you. It is hard work. It was bad enough when I was 8 years younger, but it's certainly hard work this time around. I did in Glasgow. I actually did play, or our team played against Canada. We had a couple of Canadian players visually impaired playing in the Glasgow Commonwealth Games, and at the World Championships in South Africa 2017 we played against Canada. So you did have a couple of players there at one stage.
Yeah, we've had a blind bowls community in Canada for quite a while. There's few bowlers that I think Daryl and me have even played against, and just regular nationals that have been a part of the blind bowlers community for quite a long time. So I know it's something that's a pretty big part of Canada, but the one part that's kind of been developing here, and then I guess in other countries, is sort of the parables aspect. We've just recently sort of established parables here for, I guess, more the disabled part of the bowling. So what would you say to those countries that are trying to, or I guess people that are trying to take up the sport, either parables or blind bowling, to anyone that's trying to pick up the sport, in the future here? What would you sort of say is, I guess, some words of advice for them?
I would say go for it. Our mantra here in New Zealand is don't let what you can't do stop you doing what you can do. And even wheelchair for the disabled, wheelchair bowlers, they're more than welcome on a bowling green. We're very inclusive here. Obviously, they have to have the right style of wheelchair for that. But even the blind bowlers, get somebody to help you. And a lot of clubs, sighted clubs, are more than happy to give somebody with a bit of vision problem a hand with something. Just talk to people, try and get somebody to help you, and yeah, just go for it. We've got very young bowlers, not a lot, but we don't have a lot of old in the visually impaired section. I'd obviously be the oldest, I think. But yeah, just go for it and encourage it. It's a great sport I never thought I would get into, but when I got the opportunity, and then the opportunity for big play came up, and I'm quite competitive. But you need to talk to people. You need to talk to your own club members and see if you can get people to help you, and you'll probably find that they are very willing to do so if they're asked. They don't like to, a lot of club members don't like to offer because they think they might be offending you. But just ask your clubs, and you'll be surprised what support is out there, actually.
I don't think we could have said it any better ourselves. The sport's inclusive. There's definitely room for everybody, and everybody can play it, as you said.
Yeah.
And I would have to agree with you. Sometimes it's having the ability to ask, because not everybody just comes forward and asks you. So being that person to go out and say, hey, can you help and get me involved in this sport? And I think people would be surprised at just how many people would be willing to help you out.
We have had here, and I hope to have one later in the year, I'm the Vice President of the New Zealand Blind Bowls. I'm immediate past President and now Vice President. Have a go days. Just put it out to your visually impaired groups and at a local club, so you can get local club members to help, and have a go day. Get them down on the green, get them to roll up a few bowls with somebody who knows a little bit about bowls. Just invite some of the visually impaired to a local club, and get the local club members involved. And you'd be surprised. We've picked up members that way. We don't have a massive membership here in New Zealand, but we do pick up players that way by having these, just have a go day. It doesn't cost them anything, couple of hours down on the bowling green. But get the local players involved, the sighted players involved as well. And just ask them to help a blind person out for the while. You might find that the membership increases that way, and it also gets the club members. A lot of them don't actually understand blind bowls, but this way it would help the club members understand a blind person a little bit better, and just have a bit of fun.
And that's what it's all about, really, right? At the end of the day,
yes.
it's having fun. You wouldn't be doing it if you weren't having fun, right?
Yeah. Well, I've got an example of a disabled person in England. You may have seen a video clip of it. There was a chap in Glasgow playing. He was an English player, no arms. And he was in the English team as a bowler. And that, to me, is just, I keep reflecting back on him. His name was Bob. I don't know his surname. But he was bowling in the English team. So don't let what you can't do stop you doing what you can. He was incredible. So, and totally blind people, there's no reason for them not to get, with the right person to help them, no reason why they can't get down on the mat and bowl.
Yeah, I've seen, I don't know his name either, Bob, in person. When Daryl was referencing, I saw him playing in Australia, and just incredible, just making do with whatever you can play with. And there's no
Yeah.
limitations to sort of who can play the sport or how they do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's a good example.
So from all your competitions that you've been in, what is your favorite memory that you have from playing the sport?
Okay, probably a couple here. I've got my very first game, international level, at the Blind World Championships in Worthing. I won the very first game I played. I'll say it was against Australia because we're great rivals. It was against Australia, but that was my first game I had ever played internationally. My comment to my director before I started was, I just want to get a point on the board. I was scared stiff of getting whitewashed completely, and I ended up beating her and found out later that she'd actually been the past world champion, which nobody told me to start with, which was just as well. So I walked away from the World Championships in Worthing with a silver and a bronze medal in my first outing. So that was, and I also was playing up a level, and to be 4 level, as I think I was probably the just silent joker coming in, filling a spot really, but it worked for me. Nobody knew me, which was brilliant, so I could quietly go away in the background. And then South Africa, incredible tournament, again, Blind World Bowls in South Africa, and came away with silver in that one. So I think they're probably the 2 big highlights. We have played in Israel 3 years ago, which was a wonderful tournament. So there's a lot of highlights really, but I think the medalling one, obviously, of the world champs, getting medals is always a highlight, massive highlight. I haven't got the gold yet, though. I'm working on that.
So at the end of the day, being selected for the Commonwealth Games for 2022, going to England, what does it mean for you to put the fern back on and represent New Zealand on the world stage?
It's huge. It's huge. I never thought they would give me consideration at my age. But obviously the ability, if you like, or the enthusiasm's still there. It is huge. When you put a silver fern shirt on, it really does lift you. And it's just fantastic being part of the wider team, because we do go as one team. There's the fact that we're paras doesn't cut us away from the main body team. We're all part of the same group, and it is huge. It is huge. Seeing our flag up, and if anybody medals and all that sort of thing, we're very much a one team, and it's this will be my last, I'm pretty sure, last hit at the Commonwealth Games. But yeah, no, it's bigger. It's big.
Well, I think that was all the questions I had, Daryl. Is there anything else you wanted to ask Sue?
Don't think I have any questions, but Sue, I just wanted to say, thank you very much for coming on the show. I think Mike alluded to it as well, that it's great to hear from not only a para bowler but a low vision blind bowler, and getting a little understanding of how you play the game, what the designations mean. Just putting that information out there to the world so that they can see not only what the sport can do for everybody, but also let them know who you are, and to watch for you at the Commonwealth Games, and cheer you on as you're going for that medal.
Yes, well, thank you, and thank you both for the invitation to come on. It's been really good, and I hope we can see Canada back in amongst the World Championships and Commonwealth Games again before long. You're a great country. The players I've played against have been wonderful people. Hopefully we can join forces again at some stage. Thank you.
All the best at the Commonwealth Games, and good luck upgrading that medal to a gold.
Thank you. Yes, that would be a huge highlight. Thanks very much to both of you.
And we are back. That was a tremendous interview with Sue. I very much enjoyed getting to learn about parables, blind bowling, all the differentiations, everything like that from her.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. We don't, you and I have dealt with some parabowlers and visually impaired at club level. Probably not to the extent that they're ultra competitive, but just learning more about it. The designations, kind of like we alluded to in the interview, not everybody knows what those designations mean or how they come about, and getting that explanation was really, really cool as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it because it's something I know we're trying to develop in Canada here. We've got a parables championship for probably the first time that I can remember in very recent memory. So it's nice to get the information from her, sort of know that there are all these different designations and that it's something we can definitely look to develop while in Canada and really across the world. I think the sport can really develop in the parables and that visually impaired sections of bowls.
Agreed. Yeah. Really cool, really exciting. Hopefully that side just grows, because I think it would be really advantageous for a lot of clubs. There's a lot of groups out there that are looking for stuff to do and don't really understand that bowls is something that they can actually participate in.
All right, so I guess at this point I don't think we have anything left to share. Am I correct, Daryl?
Yeah, all my notes have been moved off the desk here, a lot of them, so I think
Perfect.
we're good.
People don't see it, but when Daryl's off camera, he just throws paper across the room and just emphatically. So I figured we were set. Before we end up signing off, just wanted to let another reminder go to like, comment, subscribe. Any sort of support does help us immensely. Helps us push up in the algorithm on YouTube for people to watch. Also helps us just know what you want to see from us. If you do have any feedback, anything like that, it also helps us as well. And then we are available after the show on YouTube and then all major podcasting platforms within the week. So you can check us out, whatever method you want. I guess if that's all we got here today, may all your bowls be touchers.